everyone. Welcome to Live Well, Be Well, an Ames Wellness podcast. I'm Kacie Schumann, Health Promotion Coordinator.
And I'm Bailey Dingfield, Health Promotion Intern.
And today we're bringing you a topic that affects pretty much everybody these days. And it's all about screen time and both the physical and mental effects on it. Most people don't really realize how much they spend on screens every day, but when you add it up, it can easily be 8, 10, even 12 hours or even more. Bailey, do you feel like you spend too much time on screens?
I feel like it goes in waves. Sometimes I'll be spending too much, and sometimes I do really good of limiting it. I think that when I was younger, I didn't understand what screen times, like the effects they actually had, and so I had a lot harder time limiting it. But now that I'm more aware of it, I have things in place, so I'm not like spending too much time on screens. But,
sure.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh, I spend way too much time.
Yeah. It's hard not to.
Yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of people have a job that's on a computer.
Exactly.
Mine is one of those.
Yep.
And so I spend at minimum like 8 hours on a screen already. And then I'm checking my phone throughout the day, or I go home and I watch a TV show, or I play a video game that I enjoy. And so then, yeah, I'm getting up into that 12 or more hour range, unfortunately. So yeah, it can be a problem.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you said, screen time is one of the biggest conversations in health right now, I'd say. And it can be easy to think it's just for kids and teens, but it's also important for us as adults to think about it. A lot of the conversations about screens have been more around the impacts on mental health, which is really important to talk about. But screen time also has big impacts on physical health, which might be a little less talked about. So today we're going to break down the effects of screen time and what we can maybe do about it.
Yeah, so since the physical effects are a little bit less talked about, we're going to touch on those first. One of those is sitting for long periods of time. Typically, when you are using screens, you are often sitting, not all the time, but a lot of the time. And so people who spend the day at a desk job on their screens end up sitting for extended periods. And sitting for a long time has been associated with increased risk of a lot of different chronic conditions, things like obesity, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, heart disease, diabetes, and higher cholesterol levels. And it's not just what's happening internally either. Sitting for long periods also affects how your body just kind of feels in the general day to day. So you might notice things like stiffness, tight hips, or sluggish feeling, some musculoskeletal problems. And then some other musculoskeletal problems that are common include things like you might hear about tech neck, or even text neck is what I think it kind of initially started as, but now they've kind of just called it tech neck in general. Neck pain, shoulder tension, back pain, and then poor posture from prolonged sitting. One study actually found that taking short walking or even just movement breaks every 30 to 60 minutes instead of one long break in the middle of the day, like people usually do with their lunch hour, have more meaningful benefits. And these movement breaks don't need to be long at all. Seriously, like 1.5 to 5 minutes. These improve blood sugar and insulin levels after meals. Having more frequent breaks led to greater benefits than less frequent ones. And then even light intensity movement is enough to produce positive effects. So maybe it's just kind of like moving your arms in some circles, doing some neck rolls, things like that.
I think that's definitely something I could work on especially when I'm just sitting at a desk all day. I just forget to move and stand up. So that's
me too.
I need to be more mindful of. Another impact that screens have on us is eye health. So when you're staring at a screen all day, that means your eyes are focusing on an object that's pretty close to your face for a long period of time, and you're intensely focusing on a screen, and it's straining your eyes. This can cause what's called computer vision syndrome, which includes eye fatigue, dryness, blurred vision, headaches, and neck and shoulder discomfort. It can also increase the risk for various eye conditions. And while we can't do away with screens altogether, as they're important for our work, we can put habits in place that can help us decrease these risk factors. So one popular method that people talk about is the 20-20-20 rule, which means that every 20 minutes, try and give your eyes a break from the screen and look at something in the distance that's about 20 feet away for 20 seconds. Some other things that you can do to help is make sure you have proper lighting, posture, keeping your computer or device at an arm's length distance. Also trying to reduce glare and having good posture with your feet flat on the floor and back supported.
Something that I've tried actually is I use a blue light filter on my computer screen. I have it turned on for all hours. This is something that I think people do at night on their phones, but I actually just keep it on all the time. And I've seen you wear blue light glasses.
Yes.
Actually.
Yeah, I feel like that's been helpful sometimes when I'm really concentrating to wear blue light glasses that filter out that little bit.
Yeah, I think every little thing can help.
For sure.
So kind of related to that blue light can affect your sleep. And we actually touched on this in an earlier episode about sleep. And this is because it affects your circadian rhythms, or that internal body clock that's telling you when to be tired, when to be awake. The brain processes blue light like sunlight. So it'll tell your body to stay awake, even if it's time to wind down. It can also suppress melatonin, the hormone that makes your brain feel drowsy. Just as a reminder, sleep is absolutely critical to our health, and it affects mood, energy, focus, and our physical health. So a couple tips you can try: dim your brightness on your screen, turn on night mode, which can make the screen a little bit more yellow. And then, of course, try to limit screens 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. Replace it with a more calming activity like reading. This is something I'm horrible at.
It's really hard to do.
I mentioned it in our sleep episode. My bedtime routine involves scrolling on my phone.
Yep. Another important topic with screen time in general is wearing headphones and thinking about your hearing health. Many people also spend a lot of time with earbuds or headphones on, listening to music, podcasts, or in a virtual meeting. This can also impact your physical health. Our ears are super delicate structures that help give meaning to what's happening around us. And listening to moderate to high volumes for several hours a day can really cause some issues. Noise-induced hearing loss is what can happen when loud sounds damage sensitive hair cells inside your inner ear. These hair cells convert sound waves into electrical signals that your brain interprets as sound. When damaged or destroyed, hearing loss is permanent. Some signs of ear damage include ringing or buzzing, difficulty understanding speech in loud environments, ear pain and itchiness, feelings of pressure or muffledness after wearing headphones, and other symptoms like that. A lot of audiologists recommend the 60-60 rule, listening for no more than 60 minutes at 60% of your device's maximum volume. It's also important to give yourselves a break from sound and the stimulation of constantly listening to something.
So we have a 60-60 rule and we have a 20-20-20 rule. So numbers to remember.
Yep.
So yeah, these are just some of the physical effects of screen time. So let's talk briefly about some of the mental effects. These are a little bit more talked about, so you might have heard of some of these things. But of course, screen time can affect our mental and emotional well-being. There's strong associations found in research between high levels of screen time and increased anxiety and depression, mood instability, lack of emotional regulation, and greater levels of stress. I found some particularly concerning statistics. Children and teens spending 5 or more hours per day on digital devices had 70% higher risk of suicidal thoughts or behaviors compared to those spending less than 1 hour per day. And they found that girls were more susceptible to emotional problems from high screen use, whereas boys were more likely to turn to screens as a coping mechanism for existing issues. So yeah, kind of some concerning statistics there. Social media in particular makes these feelings a lot worse through social comparison, fear of missing out, or FOMO, cyberbullying, constant stimulation, and reduced mental downtime. Your brain doesn't really ever get a break if you're feeling always connected. And then kind of on like the other half of brain health, so more on like the cognitive well-being side of things, it can have an impact on your attention span, reducing it, difficulty concentrating. It can interfere with the learning and memory processes. You might find you have difficulty problem solving or using creative thinking. It can actually impact brain structure changes, and in a particular study, they found that those who had daily screen time of more than 7 hours per day had a premature thinning of their cerebral cortex, and that's not great. You want that to be nice, thick tissue. Language delays, especially in those under age 2, weaker relationship quality, and social isolation.
Yeah, definitely good stuff to be aware of as we keep thinking about the effects of social media and just screen time in general. So next, let's talk about some just general tips in interrupting your screen time and giving your mind and body a break. Getting outside is one of the easiest ways to take a step away from your screen. It's always good to replace screen time with something else. And like I said, getting outside is one of the best options. Not only does it pull you away from screens, but natural sunlight also helps regulate your body's internal clock, supports better sleep, and gives your eyes a break from straining at close-up screens all day. It's also important to give yourself permission to literally do nothing. A lot of us default to screens anytime we have a free moment, waiting in line, sitting on the couch, even during short breaks. So another helpful habit is giving yourself permission to not fill every moment with a screen. That might look like just sitting, stretching, or letting your mind wander for a few minutes instead of immediately reaching for your phone. Those small moments really add up and can significantly reduce how much screen time you're getting throughout the day. A sensory reset is also another habit that you can implement. A sensory reset is less about stepping away completely and more about helping your body come back to a neutral state. That can be something like taking a few slow breaths, unclenching your jaw, relaxing your shoulders, or just pausing and noticing how your body feels. A lot of the physical effects we talked about, like tension, eye strain, and even headaches, build up without us realizing it. A quick reset helps you catch that and release some of the tension before it adds up.
Yeah, you mentioned the giving yourself permission to literally do nothing. Mm-hmm. It feels so wrong, like, to do nothing. I feel like we're raised in a way where it's like we're supposed to be busy, we're supposed to be productive, we're supposed to always be getting something done.
For sure.
And so I never feel like I can do nothing.
Yeah.
Even when it's like, this is silly, even when it's like a commercial break on the TV, then I pick up my phone and it's like, okay, while the big screen is on pause, I'm going to look at my little screen.
Yeah, it's easy to just always feel like we need to be on some kind of screen, and that's just what our culture is, I think.
Yeah, just always being connected.
Yeah. How do you try and break up your screen time?
Great question. I should do a lot better at this. I have tried to do those timers that your phone comes with, like the screen time, whatever it is. But I definitely just ignore it. I just say, I'll just do 5 more minutes. So that didn't really seem to work for me. But I do try to take a break at least once or twice during the workday. I think I've mentioned this in other episodes, and take a little walk. And during those, I do actually not look at my phone. I do tend to take it with me in case I need it, I guess. Yeah. But I do try to not look at it so that I can come back to my desk and feel a little bit more refreshed. Mm-hmm. What about you?
I do use the screen time on my phone. I actually have one of my roommates has the screen time password. So when the screen time is up, I'm like locked out of my social media, which
need that.
It's been really good. It was hard. I do still go on my computer sometimes for like Instagram or something, which is really silly. But then it's like, it's harder than just reaching for my phone and looking at it. So that's been really helpful.
What app is that?
It's just with like the Apple screen time and settings. You can set a password, and if you have someone else set the password, then I can't get back into my apps that are locked out.
That is a good trick.
Yeah, it's been really helpful for me.
Should we talk about some research?
Yes, let's do it. So the article that I found talks about digital eye strain, which we briefly mentioned earlier, but I'm going to dig just a little bit deeper into it. Like I said, this article talks more about digital eye strain or computer vision syndrome. Generally, this refers to a group of eye and vision problems caused by prolonged use of digital devices like phones, computers, and tablets. The authors describe digital eye strain as a collection of visual and physical symptoms that develop after extended screen use. It's now super common to increase reliance on digital devices for work, education, and daily life. So this is definitely an important topic. Common symptoms can include eye fatigue or tiredness, dry, irritated, or burning eyes, blurred or fluctuated vision, headaches, neck and shoulder discomfort, and these symptoms are often worsening with long uninterrupted screen use. This article explains that there are several contributing factors to why this actually happens. They said that reduced blinking while using screens can lead to dry eyes. Prolonged focusing at a close distance leads to muscle eye fatigue. Poor lighting or glare from screens is also a contributing factor, and improper posture and screen positioning can also contribute to this. Also, high visual demand from continuous digital tasks is straining. And it's not just the eyes themselves, but also how we sit and interact with screens. So there's a few risk factors that the authors identified in this study. The article found that people are more likely to experience digital eye strain if they spend long hours on screens without breaks, if they use screens in poor lighting conditions or have uncorrected vision problems, and even if they don't maintain proper screen distance or posture like we've touched on before. The big takeaway that they found from this is that digital eye strain is not a rare condition, that it's actually very widespread in the modern screen use that we all have. But symptoms can often be reduced when we are intentionally making simple behavioral and environmental changes. So while a lot of that information is kind of repeating what we talked about earlier, I think it's good to emphasize why these things happen and who might be more at risk for this.
Yeah, I can see where someone who is sitting in front of a screen and they're maybe like hunched over and they're like really close to their screen, really focused, they might be experiencing some of these things for sure. I know I do sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely do as well.
The article I found was titled Associations of Passive and Mentally Active Screen Time with Perceived School Performance. This was a study done at the University of Queensland in Australia in 2023. They took data from almost 200,000 European and Canadian students with an average age of about 13, and they compared passive versus active screen time. So examples of that would include passive being things like television, where you just sit there, versus video games, where maybe your brain is a little bit more engaged, your hands, arms are engaged, things like that. And unfortunately, there was not a big difference, which I thought there would be when I was first reading this. But they found that 4 hours a day of TV, there was 32% lower odds of having high school performance in boys, and then 39% lower odds in girls. 4 hours a day of video games, on the other hand, 38% lower odds of having high school performance in boys, 45% lower odds in girls. So actually, it even looks like the video games did a little bit worse. So I don't know, I guess maybe I found that a little bit disappointing. Bottom line, it doesn't really seem to matter if your screen time is passive or active. It's probably going to have a negative effect on school performance. I would be interested to see if this would apply the same way to like maybe young adults, like college age students. That would be interesting to know.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'm also surprised that there's not a difference in passive versus active.
Yeah. So that's what we have for you today. I hope you found something interesting or enlightening in this episode. And if you have a topic that you'd like to hear from us on, or someone that you would like to hear from in the Ames area, you can shoot me an email or reach out to us on social media. My email and our sources from today will be in the show notes.
Thanks for tuning in today. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Live Well, Be Well is a City of Ames podcast.